In a small village nestled by the great baobab trees, where the sun painted the earth in shades of amber and gold, lived a boy named Kalo. But Kalo was no ordinary boy. He had a peculiar appetite, a hunger that couldn't be satisfied by yams or fufu or the sweetest mangoes. Kalo had a hunger for words. From the moment he was a babe, cradled in his mother's arms, he didn't just listen to her lullabies. He seemed to absorb them. His eyes would widen. His little mouth would move as if tasting the syllables. As he grew, his strange craving only intensified. While other children chased lizards or played by the river, Kalo would sit at the feet of the village elders, his gaze fixed on their lips as they spun tales of ancient kings and cunning tricksters. He would follow the market women, not for a piece of fruit, but to catch the vibrant words they exchanged, words of barter, gossip, and laughter. He would listen to the weaver's hands, the drummer's rhythm, the farmer's song to the soil, and he would gather the words that floated around them like shimmering threads. One evening, as the elder, Baba Femi, was telling a story about Anansi the spider, Kalo felt an irresistible urge. The word wisdom hung in the air, rich and full. He reached out, almost instinctively, and plucked it from the air. He popped it into his mouth. It tasted like honey and old leather and the scent of rain on dry earth. It was delicious. From that day on, Kalo began to eat words. He'd sneak into the storyteller's hut and nibble on the edges of fables. He'd find forgotten proverbs and savor them slowly. He ate words of courage that tasted like ginger and fire. He devoured words of love that melted on his tongue like warm shea butter. He snacked on funny words that fizzed and popped in his mouth, making him giggle uncontrollably. But Kalo soon discovered that not all words were sweet. One day, he overheard two men arguing. Harsh, angry words like hate and jealousy flew between them. Curious, Kalo caught one. It was bitter, like a rotten fruit, and it left a sour, metallic taste in his mouth for days. He learned quickly to avoid such words, sticking to the ones that nourished his spirit. As he ate, a wonderful thing began to happen. The words became a part of him. When he ate the word strong, he found he could carry the water pots from the river without tiring. When he ate the word clever, he could solve the trickiest riddles the other children posed. When he ate kindness, he felt a deep urge to help his neighbors and care for stray animals. The more words he ate, the wiser he became. He knew the history of his people, the secrets of the forest, the language of the birds, and the rhythms of the seasons. The villagers started to notice. They saw a change in the quiet boy. He spoke with a clarity and depth that belied his age. His advice was sought, his opinions valued. One year, a great drought fell upon the land. The sun beat down mercilessly, the river shrank to a muddy trickle, and the crops withered in the fields. The earth cracked open, thirsty and barren. Despair settled over the village like a heavy blanket. The elders gathered, their faces etched with worry. They chanted, they prayed, but the skies remained clear and cruel. Kalo saw their fear. He saw the empty granaries and the hungry faces of the children. He knew he had to do something. For weeks, he had been saving the most powerful words he could find. He had collected words of hope, rain, growth, and abundance. He had kept them stored in his heart, a secret feast. That night, as the village slept a restless sleep, Kalo walked to the center of the village, to the ancient baobab tree that stood like a silent guardian. He stood beneath its massive branches, took a deep breath, and began to speak. But he didn't just speak. He released the words he had eaten. He spoke the word river, and the memory of its cool, flowing water seemed to whisper through the dry leaves. He spoke rain, and the sound was like 1,000 tiny drums pattering on the parched ground. He spoke of life, green, blossom, and harvest. The words poured from him, not as sounds, but as living things. They shimmered in the moonlight, full of energy and power. They were words of hope, painting a picture of a world reborn. He told a story woven from every tale he had ever consumed. It was a story of a land blessed with water, of seeds sprouting with joyous life, of a community united and strong. His voice, filled with the essence of every good word he had ever tasted, carried across the silent village. It was a song, a prayer, a powerful incantation. The villagers, awakened by the magic in his voice, came out of their huts. They stood in silence, listening, as Kalo's story filled the night. They felt a shift in the air. The oppressive heat seemed to lessen. A cool breeze stirred the dust. As Kalo spoke the final word of his story, abundance, a single, fat drop of rain fell on his forehead. Then another, and another. Soon, a gentle shower turned into a steady downpour. The villagers lifted their faces to the sky, laughing and crying as the blessed water washed away the dust and despair. The rain fell all night, soaking the grateful earth. The next morning, the world was transformed. The air was clean and fresh. Tiny green shoots were already pushing their way through the damp soil. The river began to swell. Hope had returned. Kalo, however, was empty. He had given away all his words. He felt weak, plain, and ordinary again. He was just a boy, but he was happy. He saw the joy on the faces of his people and knew he had done the right thing. Baba Femi, the old storyteller, came to him and placed a hand on his shoulder. "You did not lose the words, Kalo," he said, his voice soft. "You planted them. You gave them to us, and now they will grow in all our hearts." He was right. From that day on, the stories in the village were richer. The songs were sweeter. The words Kalo had released had taken root in everyone. And Kalo, he was still hungry. But now, he didn't just eat words for himself. He shared them. He became the village's new storyteller, gathering new words and weaving them into tales that nourished, healed, and inspired. He taught the children that words have power. They can be bitter or sweet, destructive or creative. He showed them that the words we choose to consume and the words we choose to speak can shape not only our own lives, but the world around us. And so, the boy who ate words became the man who fed his village with stories, ensuring they would never go hungry for hope again. Sparkle's moral of the story: words shape lives. Choose the ones that build, not break. Until next time, choose your words wisely.